CTV News at 5 with Hudson Mack.
Emergency responders in the Comox Valley had their hands full, called into action twice in just over an hour. We branched to this breaking story last night on Vancouver Island Report. RCMP and a Cormorant helicopter from CFB Comox rescuing a child stranded on a log in the fast-flowing Campbell River. 442 Squadron was able to pluck the girl to safety. But just as the chopper was refueling in Campbell River, another call came in about a hiker who had fallen 14 meters in Strathcona Park. He needed to be pulled off a cliff face. They got him, and he is now hospitalized in stable condition. Well, if you're heading downtown in Victoria this weekend, bring a lawn chair, a blanket, some sunscreen, a camera, and maybe pack a little patience too, as one of the largest outdoor concerts in North America gets set to make another big splash. And you'll want to get there early because more than 40,000 spectators are expected to fill the Inner Harbour again this year, this Sunday, taking in the annual Victoria Symphony Splash. And this year promises to be even bigger and better. The live concert begins at 4 o'clock, and the orchestra will feature classical and popular selections as usual, while showcasing a young soloist. It'll end, as it always does, on a powerful note with the cannons and the fireworks and the 1812 Overture. And it says, the city says it always causes quite a ripple on city streets.
BC Day weekend always proves to be one of the busiest in the city of Victoria, and with the Symphony Splash being held on Sunday night in the Inner Harbour, we do start closing the roads on Sunday afternoon, and those are all of the roads in the immediate vicinity of the Inner Harbour, so around the Empress Hotel and the Legislature. So we do ask that people coming down in their cars provide a little bit extra time to find parking and to avoid that area.
And here's what you need to know. Sunday at noon, Belleville Street between Menzies and Government will be closed for the setup. And then at 2 o'clock Sunday afternoon, Government Street from Superior to Humboldt, Belleville from Menzies to Douglas, and Wharf Street from Government to Broughton Streets will be closed to all vehicular traffic. So stay out of the area. Adam Swatsky is once again hosting the event this year, and he'll have more on what to expect in the program on the 2012 Symphony Splash later in our look at lifestyle and the arts. A lot of folks on the move this holiday weekend too, and as with any long weekend, if you're coming or going to the island, much of your time may be spent waiting in line at the BC ferry terminals. So far today, though, that's proving to be the rule at the terminals. Let's take a look at the situation right now. A live webcam shot from Swartz Bay, where there is currently a 1 sailing wait to the mainland. They've just loaded the 5. That's why it looks empty. In Tsawwassen, people trying to get to the island are also facing a 1 sailing wait. The 545 out of Duke Point is 99% full, and there's a 1 sailing wait for oversized vehicles. The 520 from Departure Bay to Horseshoe Bay is only about 23% full with no sailing waits. Despite that, don't be fooled. BC Ferries expects a very busy weekend and says the best way to make sure you get on the sailing you want is to make a reservation. An update tonight on that boat that sank in Union Bay yesterday. It's already been hauled back to the surface and has now been beached nearby in Deep Bay. The vessel is listing along the shoreline near Vancouver Island University's Deep Bay Marine Station. It's not clear at this point who got it there, who left it there, or why. People in the area say the ship does appear to be leaking fuel. Locals are hoping that the owners will come and put oil booms around it and will tow it out of there for good. Speaking of big, a giant sign has been installed on Port Alberni's waterfront proclaiming the city to be Canada's ultimate fishing town. It's 7 meters high, 4 meters wide, and features 3 Chinook salmon and an eagle perched on top. Ucluelet-based chainsaw carver Terry McKinnon spent 4 months creating the sign. It commemorates Port Alberni's designation as Canada's ultimate fishing town in 2010.
Well, first and foremost, it was important to me to recognize the community that helped do this, and second, to put us on the map as a designation to work, live, and play, and to market us to the world. It keeps growing and growing. This was important to us to get this done for our birthday celebrations this weekend for our centennial.
The sign was installed yesterday just in time for Alberni's centennial celebrations. The city has a full slate of events planned this weekend, including a homecoming for people who used to live in the community. Organizers are hoping that more than 5,000 people return to their roots.
Special about this community that people feel no matter where you've gone in your life or what you've done, you always come home to your roots. People say I'm coming home to Port for the weekend. And I don't know, there's something about when you come down the hill over that hump and you're coming into the valley. It's just so special. There's some magical tie that was here that has kept people connected no matter where they've moved to.
If you'd like more information on Alberni's centennial and this weekend's celebrations, you can visit alberni.ca. The BC Teachers Federation has won its appeal of an arbitrator's ruling on class size limits. In 2009 and then again last year, an arbitrator called the so-called Rule of 33, which allowed exemptions to class size limits in certain cases if principals and superintendents agreed. But the BC Appeal Court says the arbitrator in creating that rule was not allowed to do so, just to interpret the existing legislation. The court also ruled that the burden of proving class size, that the sizes are justified, rests with the employer and not with the BC Teachers Federation. A medical condition is believed to be the cause of a crash on Highway 19 in Lantzville this afternoon. A white pickup truck slammed into the center divider on the highway near Superior Road at about 2 o'clock. A witness pulled over and rushed to help just as the town's fire chief pulled onto the highway and came upon the accident scene.
I stopped for my red light and immediately realized I was looking at this impaled vehicle behind me. So I swung out, threw my lights on, swung out in my duty truck and blocked traffic to protect the lady giving first aid there. And can't tell you much what went on there. It seems to be in a medical emergency for the individual driving, and he ends up in this situation.
Beyond that, there are a few details. No word at this hour on the condition of the man who was driving the truck. A windsurfer from Nanaimo is riding the waves all the way to Seashelt this weekend. He departed Piper's Lagoon this morning. David Strang surfs the Gyro Georgia Strait Charity Challenge every year, raising money for nonprofits in Nanaimo. This year he's raising money for the New Hope Center and the Forest Park program in Nanaimo. The windsurfer says this 40-kilometer trip is really going to pay off.
We're raising money for charities. We've got about $27,000 raised. Anybody that wants to send further monies along, we're giving a majority of the money to the Salvation Army Hope Center. I think it's around $13,000, $12,000 or $13,000. I'm not exactly sure. And then there's a big sum going to the city of Nanaimo to rebuild Forest Park, which is up around Forest Park School.
Strang has raised more than $125,000 in the 6 years he's been doing this for charities in the Harbor City. The city of Nanaimo is embarking on an ambitious plan to redevelop one of the Mid-Island's most prominent sports complexes. Caledonia Park is home to the Vancouver Island Raiders and to various youth soccer teams, as well as a location for high-profile community events and competitions. But the complex is aging, and the city is making plans to improve the facility, looking at everything from accessibility to the spectator seating to the field itself.
We're looking at the buildings, the washroom buildings, change rooms. They need to be enhanced. We're also looking at the grandstand. I mean, the facilities here are pretty old, and we would like to make improvements to the grandstand. And ultimately, the field itself, maybe improve the drainage and better turf, or even potentially artificial turf.
After consulting with user groups, including the Vancouver Island Raiders and the youth soccer clubs who play here, the city would come up with a plan to redevelop Caledonia Park and incorporate it as part of its financial plan for the fiscal years 2013 through 2017. And we'll keep an eye on that for you.